My Mushroom Stroganoff is a modern vegetarian reimagination of the classic Beef Stroganoff. Just as rich and decadent as the original, using a mixture of mushrooms delivers a walloping umami that will satisfy even the most ardent of meat eaters. Hi everyone, welcome to today's episode of Let's Celebrate TV. I'm your host, Peter Lee. Today, it's all about vegetables. Actually, it's all about mushrooms. We're going to make mushroom stroganoff. So let's get started. Now, what is mushroom stroganoff? Mushroom stroganoff is my vegetarian version of beef stroganoff. You know, this time of year, we like to eat a little lighter, but I still want that heartiness, and mushrooms are the way to go. It's very simple. So here we go. I've got a large pot here. You can use a large Dutch oven or a big skillet with tall sides. I'm going to put it on medium heat. There we go. And we're going to start with some olive oil, 2 tablespoons or about 30 mils, right in the pot. Really just enough to coat the bottom. Next is an onion. I have 1 medium onion that I just finely diced. Pour it in. Now, you didn't hear a sizzle. We're just going to soften this. We're not browning it. You don't need to hear that sizzle. You want to start in a cold pot. I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper to help it get started. Just like that. Then we're going to let this cook 2 or 3 minutes. The onions will start to turn translucent and they'll be soft. You can feel it with the spoon. You just want to give them a little stir once in a while and let them start to soften. Okay, it's been a couple minutes. My onions are starting to turn translucent and they're softening. Let's add some more flavors. Next up is some thyme. It's one of my favorite herbs, and I'm using fresh thyme today. This is what fresh thyme looks like. And we're just going to put in a couple sprigs right in. You don't have to peel them or anything. We can fish them out later. Ooh, already a great smell. Next up is my other favorite, garlic, of course, naturally. I have 2 cloves I just minced up, right in. Smells wonderful. Garlic and the thyme, wow. All right, next is the star of the show, mushrooms. We can't make mushroom stroganoff without mushrooms. I have a big bowl here of various mushrooms. This is 1.5 pounds or about 680 grams of some mixed mushrooms, and I just roughly slice them up. I'm going to put them right in. You're probably wondering what kind of mushrooms they were. I have 3 types today. This is what I could get. I have the standard white button mushroom. I have a cremini mushroom, which is really just a baby portobello mushroom. And I have a shiitake mushroom. Now the shiitakes are interesting. They have a lot of flavor, but in something like this, you can't use the stem. You want to pull the stem off and just use the cap. But don't discard the stem. You can use them in stocks and things. But they're really just too woody and fibrous to eat. All right, I'm going to give this a little bit more salt and pepper. We have to season those layers. Not too much. We'll be adding more later, but just a little. And we're going to let this cook for about 10 minutes. I'm going to give them a stir right now, and then I'm going to leave them alone. And the reason is I want them to start to caramelize and brown up. So be patient. Let them sit 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, give them a stir, let them sit another couple minutes. Here we are. It's been 10 minutes and my mushrooms have cooked down. There's all kinds of lovely brown bits in the bottom of the pan. We call that fond. That's concentrated flavor. So how do we get that fond? We deglaze the pan. Today I'm going to deglaze with some white wine. I have 4 ounces, 120 mils of some dry white wine. Before I do that, let me show you what it is. I'm using my new favorite wine. This is from the Old Field in Southold, New York, and it's a white Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir is normally a red wine. They made a white version, and it's dry and crisp and sparkly. And as I always tell you, don't cook with wine that you won't drink. I love to drink this, so I'm going to cook with it. Here we go. Thank you, ladies. That's what you want to hear. I'm going to stir this about to get up some of these brown bits that are on the bottom of the pan and to let some of the alcohol cook off. We're going to let this reduce for about a minute or so. Alrighty, next we're going to add some stock. I have 8 ounces or 240 mils of mushroom stock. If you cannot find mushroom stock, you can use vegetable stock, but I prefer the mushroom because it's going to reinforce that mushroomy flavor. All right, now we're going to let this go for a moment. I'm going to add one more ingredient, which is some soy sauce. 2 tablespoons or 30 mils of soy sauce. There's that extra salt I mentioned earlier. We're just going to let this go for about 7 to 10 minutes. We just want this to reduce a little bit and it'll thicken up and all those flavors will come together. Now I'm going to serve this over some egg noodles. So I need to put my noodles in to cook and they'll all be done around the same time. Alrighty. Now we're ready for the pasta, but I told you 7 to 9 minutes. I let it go about 11 minutes. It needed a little more love. Sometimes that happens. You judge it. But we're almost done. And this is smelling wonderful. So I'm going to cut the heat. We're going to add in 2 more ingredients. The first, I'm going to add in some sour cream. I have a half cup here, or about 113 grams. You could use sour cream. You could use crème fraiche if you can find it. Crème fraiche is thicker and a little more tangy than sour cream. Now, this is a vegetarian dish. If you want to make it vegan, you could use one of the vegan alternatives. One of the nut creams, a cashew cream, or an almond cream would be lovely. Next is 1.5 teaspoons or about 10 grams of Dijon mustard. That's going to give it just that last little tang. Give this a stir. And this is what makes it really look like stroganoff, this cream. It's thick and creamy. Wow. That looks glorious. I'm going to get my pasta out. Now you can use egg noodles. I happen to be using pappardelle. All right, now I'm going to pour my noodles right in. If you don't like noodles, you can serve this over mashed potatoes. You could serve it over rice or any shape of pasta that you like. Here we go. Right in. Now, if this is a little too thick, you could always thin it out with some of the pasta water or some more stock. And we're just going to stir this in, and those noodles are drinking up this sauce. It's going to be lovely. Wow. Look at that. All right. Let's have the official tasting. Get a noodle. Get it all twirled up here. And some mushrooms. Mm. Mm. Wow. That is incredible. You get all these flavors. The mushrooms are rich, they're meaty, but somehow it's still kind of light. But you get that cream and that unctuous from the sour cream and the onions and the herbs and garlic. It all comes together in this wonderful, wonderful, comforting bite of food. Now, I'm going to have a sip of wine. Same one I used in here, the same one that I have here. As always, we will see you on Tuesdays for our regular episodes, Fridays for Cocktail Fridays, and every other Sunday for our live streams. Now, I'm going to devour this, and while I do that, I want you to watch some of these episodes over here. So until next time, cheers.